It's the Redirect Podcast. Search industry research, discussion, and analysis from the Black Truck Media and Marketing Headquarters. And now, redirecting you to the Black Truck team.
Welcome back to another edition of the Redirect Podcast. It is episode 8, and this happens to actually be, is it Wednesday? July 12th. We're recording on a Wednesday, not on a Friday like we normally do, because I'm traveling, so that's why. So I'm once again welcomed by my colleagues Patrick and Ashley from the Black Truck Media and Marketing team. And we're going to go ahead and jump in and talk about this week what things that we're reading from an industry side. What does it mean? And are there actions that you should be taking and things that you should be thinking about? So do you guys want to lead off or do you want me to lead off? Doesn't matter.
I can start.
Cool.
I would like to share today an article I read on Seer Interactive's site. Called The Future of SEO in Automotive and Infotainment Systems.
Ooh.
Yeah, we actually shared this on Twitter yesterday, I believe. But I really wanted to discuss this because it's relevant to me. I am newly leasing a VW Jetta that has a pretty good integration with my smartphone. But this article is talking about how vehicle manufacturers are just, not willing to make the investment of incorporating an interface in the car that could be used as kind of a mobile device where we don't have to rely on our phones. So I just thought it was a really interesting angle to think about. One of the subheads in the article was a different kind of mobile SEO, because they're just talking about how this might look in the future, especially because Tesla is one of the only vehicles right now that can receive software updates like our phones can.
Oh.
So I think there's just interesting things coming down the line as far as that goes.
Yeah, I think Ford Sync, you still have to plug a USB.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And didn't you went through that whole process in your truck, right?
It didn't work. Yeah, I have a 2013 Ford, and I went through the process as laid out on the site, and it didn't work. And I asked the dealership if they could just update it for me real quick with their proprietary equipment, and they said, yeah, but it'll be $50 to $100 to do.
Wow.
Yeah, so the article mentioned how Volkswagen, Cadillac, and Chevrolet and some other brands are helping to supplement the current infotainment systems gap and make the technology more user-friendly. So I actually have a really good system, I feel, in my Jetta, but I do have to plug in my phone through a USB to be able to use the apps on my phone.
Yeah.
And there's only certain apps that you can use while you're driving.
Yeah,
Because it's
right.
disabled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they were talking about how you use your phone for navigation and messaging, that sort of thing. You can use the voice commands in your car. And so, takeaways for now, I don't think this is anything that's gonna change too much in the near future, but they were reiterating the importance of optimizing for voice search, because that's what people are going to be doing from their cars, and local SEO. So there you go.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and jump right into that because I think it's a perfect segue into the 2, if not more, articles that I've been reading. So everybody, it's the 12th. We're coming off of Amazon Prime Day, which was 7/11, Amazon Prime Day, and there's a lot of I'm fascinated by that. Just from there's a lot of business pundits that say it's taking over Black Friday and they're killing it, and read your headline and it's probably a little misleading. The headlines that I was reading was that they, they've had record sales, dominated, duplicate, triple what they did, for lack of better phrasing, of Amazon Echo and the Dot. So they're home devices, if you will. What they're not saying in a lot of those Business Insider publications and stuff, until you really get into the meat of that, is that they sold it at 50% off of what it was last year. So of course people are going to be more interested to buy, let alone to, if we looked at this point in time last year, home devices really, in the past 12 months have just blown up, which is why as SEOs we talk about natural language search and voice to text and how those are becoming more important. So that's my lead into a couple different articles actually from Search Engine Land, kind of back to back. So this one was from yesterday. Jim Yu on the 11th talks about keynotes on optimizing for voice search, conversation, content, and context. Patrick's looking across from me like, damn it, you stole my idea. And then the other one was the report on, so 43% of millennials have made a voice device purchase in the past year. So Patrick, maybe we can just tag team.
Yeah.
What were your key takeaways on optimizing for voice search?
I think you were getting ready to say it too, but there's a line in there that said recognizing the differences between market growth versus consumer adoption.
Totally.
Amazon can sell a bunch of their Echoes, and maybe Echo growth is going crazy, but are consumers using it? That was the biggest thing I took away too. And it's like, although at the beginning of that article, of mobile searches, 20% are done by voice. That was another big one too. One thing I wanted to touch on with this article too is I experienced usage of the Google Home over the weekend by a large group of people. So I was at my in-laws' cottage and there was 8 kids in the house, and there's a Google Home, and they were fighting over it. Or not Google Home, is it Google Home? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Or the Google Assistant, whatever, the white thing.
Google Home.
Yeah. And they were fighting over it.
It looks like an old Renew air freshener.
Yes.
Good job.
Yeah.
Good job.
And they were trying to play music, and the kids were all outside, and I was prepping for dinner or something, and I said, okay, Google, and I played my playlist that I wanted to, which unfortunately comes directly from YouTube. But then they came running in, and then they heard the music change, and they started fighting over which music they wanted to play, and they're all shouting, okay, Google commands. And there's no, I just did some research on, is there unique voice recognition? You're going to have your own voice. Like I want Patrick's voice, or I want Ashley's voice.
Who was it that just did it? Who did the update this week on it's your voice is going to do the callback? We shared it through social channels. It's you're able to record your voice, and it will give you the prompts and the updates back in your voice, which would be super creepy.
Yes.
I don't want to hear myself navigate.
Waze.
Yeah, the Waze app. So I think the adaptation side of it, which is interesting, because what Jim didn't mention in here that I didn't pull out anyways was, we've talked about it in previous episodes, is that something like true adaptation or adaptation of these devices wasn't really going to hit quote unquote mainstream or be like okay
right
until it hit like over 90% accuracy, but we're already there. I mean, just even if you compare my Google Assistant inside of the Pixel versus a couple different iterations of Siri and your iOS, I think it's night and day difference in terms of the accuracy that you get in data, but very much the near and by me and what abouts, and they're leading more toward the conversation side of it. We just got back from a meeting, and I used Google Maps to help navigate around some construction and stuff, and you can interact with Google Maps in that same fashion. You don't have to say, okay, Google. I can strictly say, tell me my next turn or something like that. I can't remember what the prompt is. There's a specific cadence to that prompt, but you can actually have the conversation of, tell me what my next turn is, right? And that's always been my beef. We've talked about it. Patrick is like, has GPS or maps, going back to Sears' blog post of in car, like, has that made us dumber and not knowing where we're going? Like, I always like to know what my next turn is, and quite frankly, Google and GPS are never fast enough for me to know, like, okay, in a mile, turn right. Great. On what? So the natural speaking of things.
Yeah, that was the big thing in here too, is the conversational. I wrote down nuances of conversational search, and that's it. It all comes down to local. I think it's obviously content on page is going to be important, but the bigger picture, the off-site optimizations that take place through local, that will help searches find you.
Oh, so all the various citation sources, I
Yeah.
think they mentioned in there. It's not just Google My Business, Yelp, Bing, Apple Maps, which
Yeah.
we very often probably overlook, and we shouldn't. Because does Apple Maps power Siri
Yeah,
by default?
yeah.
Right? So make sure you're also editing, optimizing Apple Maps as well.
And it's still got a lot of flaws. We were driving home from the UP this week in Michigan's Upper Peninsula, and we decided to stop at a brewery that my wife is friends with the owner in Mackinac City. And while we're driving southbound on the Mackinac Bridge, it's a 7-mile long bridge, my wife searched it, and she starts grumbling, and I'm like, what's going on? This is routing me to Mackinac Island before we go to Mackinac City.
Oh, jeez.
I'm like, do you have it on walk? Does it show that you're swimming? What is it doing? And
Switch to submarine.
Meanwhile, I'm looking at the bridge while driving. It's impossible not to. But we ended up just getting on the other side of the bridge and plugging it into Google Maps versus Apple Maps, and it got us right there. But what triggered that to go out to the island? Because we were currently over water when it happened, but we were on a bridge. So there's a lot of failures in certain areas of things.
Which is why it's not used as much.
Right. And I think too, Apple, and it's known up until even recently, they finally have kind of admitted they didn't put that much focus on Siri, so let's not go down the rabbit hole too far, but back to search intent.
Right.
So the step 1 through 4 that Jim talks about optimizing for voice search, and Jim's very reputable. I mean, he's the CEO of BrightEdge. So BrightEdge is a very well-known software in the SEO industry. Great product, great tool from an enterprise perspective. So think conversational intent, target the long tail, master mobile, and go local, and then build out structured content. And I think really all of those do, semantically, all of those play well together. So conversational intent is natural speaking, understanding that we speak faster than we typically will do a search, and we speak more naturally, and it's conversational. So, but still trying to get back to the core of what is your intent? What was even your intent in reading the article and understanding that? The long tail, trying to understand that more in depth becomes more challenging. And then the whole mobile local, if your site's not optimized from a mobile perspective, are you ever going to win at the local perspective? Right. Or at the same time, if you're not winning and taking ownership of your local positions, then it's not going to help you either way. So that's really interesting there too. Did you have another part?
Yeah, no,
you had to have a backup.
Yeah, I didn't have a backup. I was banking on that one because it was on voice search, and that's kind of what always been my go-to thing, is because I'm kind of obsessed with it. If I see an article about it, I dig into it, and so I didn't get a backup.
Well, I think kind of as a good maybe follow up, and we can touch base on this. I think this is very important. It's very timely. There's been a lot of chatter about net neutrality, and I think that's something that we would not be. Black Truck would not be in the position that it is now as a company. I would not have. Neither would any of you in this room be in your career if it. If we didn't talk about net neutrality and the simple principles. There was a really great article that Russ Jones from Moz posted, and he really broke it down. The internet service provider should enable access to all content and applications regardless of the source and without favoring or blocking particular products or websites. This is basic principles, kind of free speech online, if you will. But if the FCC moves toward retracting those policies, in the interest of public good, i.e. large corporations, that those freedoms that we have now are not going to be available to us. And that can be, well, totally there's an economic play here from us, right? We work in the online world. We do good by our clients to help them rank better, to drive more traffic. Well, if other parties involved get to throttle that, get to control who sees what, when, where, that obviously affects our industry. But what I guess what Russ really did a good job was breaking down more, let's just say the humanity side of it that people aren't understanding.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you've done your diligence, you work in the industry or not, I think it's those in the industry are concerned about it, meaning those in the tech sector get it and understand it. Individuals outside of that don't, because it's very gray. But think about this. He points out 911 call centers, clinical video, so telemedicine for anybody, for veterans, for anybody, online education, things of that. So those are the top three that he talks about, is that there's a lot of voice over IP. Pretty much a majority of your phone services now are VoIP. What's going to happen if big corporation gets involved and controls that and starts to throttle that? What happens to 911 call centers that have migrated to IP technology when their infrastructure was modernized? Video telehealth, what happens there? Online education, K-12 students and their teachers. He brought a good point up. By 2014, 75% of all U.S. districts offered some form of online education. And that helps, or blended tech, and that helps with individuals who might have learning disabilities and can't physically be in a classroom every day, individuals who just struggle with attention, or maybe it's summer school, and they can take that class online versus having to go someplace. So there's a lot of different examples, and I think we would be a fool to not mention it and kind of stand on our soapbox for a minute and say that we really need to understand net neutrality and respect it, and be opposed to retracting anything.
Yes.
Just going to put that out there. So
thank you for making that a part of this.
I put my name on the list.
yeah, I think it's good. So unfortunately, maybe it's a little too late, but at the same time, keep voicing our opinions about that as being hopefully good business leaders and stewards of the online community and what we're here to do and do honest things. So in closing, not to close on a somber note, so I'm headed out to MozCon, which will start up on Monday. I'm going to be out there for the whole thing. I'm going to fly out tomorrow and be there for about a week. So I'm looking forward to networking. I'm looking forward to bringing that knowledge back to the entire team, share some bits and pieces that I learned while I was there. Definitely in the next episode that we'll record. So until then, I guess good luck this week. Carry on, and we will connect.
This has been the Redirect Podcast. Check out the show notes at blacktruckmedia.com and add us on iTunes and Stitcher.